Hi, class. Today we are going to cover the basics. And by the way, welcome to SNHU 107. Today we're going to cover the basics of navigating the web page and then just a couple of pointers about the assignments that are due in week 1. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, this is not the class that you're taking. This is a class that I took in a past graduate degree that I finished actually with Southern New Hampshire. So I am also a student here, so I can be obviously a resource to you as well when it comes to navigating and utilizing the system. I'm not just looking at it from an instructor's point of view. I'm also looking at it from a student point of view, having been in that situation. So the first thing that I would suggest that you focus on is the course menu. The course menu contains the announcements, the learning modules, the discussions, a rundown of the assignments, and grades. And that's mainly the reason why I'm using this, because I can't show an image of whoever's enrolled in the class and, just privacy situations. So I'm going into my own class to show you kind of what it looks like from a student perspective. So, if you go into announcements, these are very important. I often post announcements. These are my instructor's announcements. I prefer to do Prezi announcements and also video announcements. This is more of a text-based course, and the overall program was English related, so I guess I could kind of see that, even though this is a marketing class. This is where you'll find important information. Again, course menu, if we go to, let me actually switch to the module in our class since that doesn't show any sensitive information. This is just an introduction here. It is important to read though. Here are all your resources, and it tells you various different things. It gives you a little introduction here. It tells you how to access the book. There's also a video on owning your education, which kind of relates to taking ownership in the discussion. I'll go into more of that a little bit later. And I would definitely suggest all of these. I believe I have this discussion boards video in my Prezi announcement for the week, so you can look at it there. This is a guide to the rubrics in the course. That's very important. I do go by the rubric. So let's go back to where we were. As far as this is discussion 1, taking ownership. So it's important to note that all of these points fall under your initial post. So you're going to cover this entire thing. One mistake that I often notice students kind of fall into in the beginning, they just cover this first one about introducing themselves. That is not the entirety of your main post. After you introduce yourself, and I'll just read here. This might include your preferred name and pronouns, what motivates you, what degree you are pursuing, what some of your goals are, or whatever you're comfortable sharing. Okay, that's all well and good, but it does proceed into other items. Explain what you think. This is your personal take on ownership and personal success during the course. And then the next part, discuss this week's resources on taking ownership, considering the following as you write your responses. How did they help you define the concept of taking ownership? How did they support what you knew about taking ownership? Identify examples of how you'll take ownership in your academic journey. Okay, so this is your take. This is the course's take. And honestly, the truth might lie somewhere in the middle between the two. Multiple things can be true at once. That's basically what I'm saying. So you can take and evolve all these different definitions. And then here, discuss your why, what motivates you and drives you as a student. In the Prezi that I put in, I believe I have a video of Simon Sinek. I'm pretty sure that's how he pronounces his name. His best content is usually around what is your why. So there is some information on that in the Prezi that I provide to you. So you could check that out. I would suggest that your initial post, and definitely be sure to watch the video how to get an A on every discussion. I've already posted that in the course for the preview period. So definitely check that out. But I would definitely suggest a lot of supporting details in your initial post. Another mistake that I noticed that students kind of fall into on the response posts, they're very brief, but it kind of gives you a guideline on the things that you're supposed to cover in your response posts. And you can also introduce new information. You can expand on what was originally stated. You just have to be lengthening the discussion in some form or fashion. I would not suggest a sentence or two, because you will get a needs improvement in the rubric. And then below here is the discussion rubric. We're doing 1-2 warm up. Start here. That is also a grade, and the rest of these things are for informational purposes. I would definitely check them out. So one thing that I kind of picked up early in classes is when you go to course menu and grades, and this is my personal class, so I don't care if you see my grade. You can always go to grades, and again, this is my personal class, so it's going to look different from SNHU 107. You can always go into grades and go, oh, okay, so for week 1, I only have 2 assignments due. And then, oh, week 2, I had 3 assignments due. So it always begins with the week that you're presently in. So you can always double check yourself, in other words. What is due, what is points, what isn't points. But I would definitely go through each individual resource that's available, because you get out of it what you put into it. So if we go back to, let's see if there's, okay, so here on the left margin are all the modules. Now, there are links to get into the discussion through the module, as I showed before. But when you click on it, it looks kind of strange to me. It's in a different format for some reason. So I would definitely suggest going to course menu and then discussions, and then click on it. Now, one thing that I would suggest, when you go into the discussion and you click that you want to make your reply or your response, you're not going to have this as a guide. So I would definitely prepare your response in Microsoft Word so that you can copy and paste this into Word, and so you'll have the guideline of everything that you're supposed to cover. Because the discussion prompt doesn't appear in the discussion when you go in there and try to do your response. Now, when you do your reply post to another student, all you do is click on their reply, and then there's a little reply button. I believe it actually just says reply, and then you'll be in that thread of the discussion. So hopefully that makes sense, but your best friend is the course menu. Everything is accessible through the course menu. That's all I have for you today. I know you'll do great in week 1. If you have any questions for me, you can go into discussions, and hopefully this doesn't show any information. If I do, I'll blur it out when I edit. You'll go into discussions, and then you'll go into general questions. and then you can ask questions there. My contact information is also available in the class, so you can feel free to text me or call. I do also in-person classes, not for Southern New Hampshire, but somewhere else. And there are times that I'm in class, so I can't answer the phone, obviously, during those times. But I will definitely get back to you. So feel free to call, text, email, or post in the general questions. I try to get back to you as soon as possible, within a few hours. If you do send it at night, it probably will be the next morning, though, just to give you a heads up on that. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day.